Howdy, I hope you've had a great day. Silver Trade here again with another video. GameStop has never been in a better place. In Roaring Kitty's last video, he drinks his beer right when the clock hits 1:13 p.m. Could this be a hint at January 13th? Because GameStop does see an unusual amount of volume step in around that time. But it's not always right on January 13th, like right here, it was on January 29th, saw an unusual amount of volume. Please remember, none of this is financial advice, we are not financial advisors, and this video is made for entertainment purposes only. Back in 2017, we saw a lot of volume on January 13th. In 2018, we saw a lot of volume on January 12th. 2020, we saw a lot of volume on January 14th. And on 2021, we saw a lot of volume on January 13th. Back in 2022, on January 7th, is when GameStop saw its most amount of volume. There wasn't anything for January of 2023. And there was also no unusual volume when it comes to January of 2024. But I believe on January 13th of 2025, we will see an unusual amount of volume. And that's why we're seeing record high institutional ownership right now. The banks know about the 4-year cycles on GameStop. Ryan Cohen and Roaring Kitty have tried to tell us about this 4-year cycle. Posted a frog emoji, hinting at leap year, or every 4 years. He had a post with the Olympics in it, which is obviously every 4 years, and Mario, which typically releases a video game every 4 years. He's also joked about changing his vote to Greg 2069. The election is every 4 years. And then I believe Roaring Kitty has hinted at a 4-year cycle as well with his emoji list. Frog for leap year, just like Ryan Cohen, American flag, or the election every 4 years, and then these 5 emojis. There was a guy that looked and looked and looked, and he was only able to find these 5 emojis in this order in one place. And that's right here, on some random post of people dressed as Mario characters from back in 2022. And it was posted right at 7:41. And Greg has posted more about his birthday this year than he normally does. We know that Roaring Kitty could definitely be Greg, so we're really excited to see what happens on January 13th. I believe that's why Greg/Roaring Kitty has been hinting at his birthday so much, January 13th. And GameStop right now has a higher earnings growth than 498 out of the 500 companies of the S&P 500. GameStop has some very strong partners like Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony, EA, Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, Funko, Logitech, Razer, AMD, and Nvidia. Yes, back in 2020 and 2021, bankruptcy was a scare. People were worried about it. But realistically, with all these strong partners, I feel like one of these massive companies would have just absorbed or merged with GameStop, in a way making bankruptcy never really on the table. Because there has to be somewhere to go and get collector edition items in person. And GameStop has been leaning more into the collector side of things, and GameStop recently posted about a classic Nintendo system in Lego form. A GameStop employee leaked that the Switch 2 was about to come out any day now. It's already in their system. And we all know that GameStop's bread and butter is when a new console comes out. Whenever a new console comes out for GameStop, that quarter looks similar to a Q4 for GameStop. And thank you guys so much for over 200 likes on the last video. I cannot believe that we hit that milestone. And we're at over 850 subs. Oh my goodness. Every time I look at it, I still just can't even believe it. Thank you guys so much. And I don't know if y'all have ever noticed this before, but on Kid Cudi's video of Memories, amazing song by the way, when you really start to look at it and pay attention, you might notice a few things that you haven't noticed before. There's a ton of this kind of stuff in the world, just hidden in plain sight. Please consider subscribing so we can both get better at looking for it. And when you read through some of GameStop's filings, you'll notice that they talk about their stock short squeezing a lot. Just to let you know, our stock may undergo a short squeeze. We thought you should be aware our stock may be facing a short squeeze. And yeah, when you look, GameStop is very, very aware that their stock might short squeeze. Volatility in our common stock price, including volatility due to potential short squeezes, and many more. And the government recently came out and reminded us that it is not illegal for a company to short squeeze their own stock. They've told us this time and time again. No matter how many times the banks and the shorts try to reopen that case, it is not illegal. Overstock used a blockchain-based dividend back in 2019. This dividend, which could only be traded on Overstock's proprietary blockchain platform, effectively locked up the shares, making it difficult for short sellers to cover their positions because the short sellers have to pay the dividend to the phantom shares. And if that's not possible, that's where a short squeeze can happen. And GameStop, with almost $5 billion in cash while closing in on consistent profitability, could definitely issue a dividend if they wanted to, but they're probably more focused on growth and expansion. And I'm not the only one thinking GameStop looks really strong right now. Check out what me, Kevin, has to say about it.
On some micro data, I did notice today that GameStop's cash has absolutely exploded in the last 2 quarters of 2024. Quite remarkably, actually, when you look at the cash balances over at GameStop, you can see that they're sitting on over $4.19 billion of cash. That's up from $921 million at the beginning of 2024, and their liabilities actually decreased. But the point is, GameStop is now selling for just a little over 3 times cash value. The company also generated a net income in its last earnings report, though it's worth noting that that was only because of interest income. They did actually have a slightly larger operating loss than they did at the end of last year, though the operating loss was only $22 million, which is a drop in the bucket compared to the $4.1 billion that they have. And a lot of people say that GameStop presents a lot of option opportunities, and I'm not talking about like YOLO calls and puts, talking about optionality in terms of what they could potentially pull off in a turnaround story with the lease contracts and basically rights that they have to locations around the country.
Me, Kevin, regardless of your opinion on him, is a pretty good investor. That's how you know that it's not just a meme stock, this is an actual turnaround. And Greg is still continuously hinting at 109. If 109 isn't January 9th, could 109 the whole time have been a hint at $109 per share? And please remember, none of this is financial advice and we are not financial advisors. This video is made for entertainment purposes only. But I believe on January 13th is when Roaring Kitty is going to open up this present and show us his huge DRS portfolio. And 741 has been one of the numbers that has been hinted at throughout the entire GameStop saga. Could 741 be a hint at the share price it could go to? Because that would line up pretty well with this really long-term channel. If GameStop were to go up to $741 per share, the market cap would be about $330 billion. And somebody just paid $200,000 for a single transaction. If this is 1% of the transaction, that transaction would be about $20 million. Sometimes banks will pull liquidity out of Bitcoin to put it into GameStop. And today, the government just got the green light to sell $6.5 billion worth of Bitcoin seized from the Silk Road, about 70,000 Bitcoin. The government can sell whenever they want. This alone is really bad for Bitcoin because if they were to do this, it would tank the price. This adds a little bit of fear to the Bitcoin markets, and Adam Aron of AMC came out and said that he's about to buy 1.2 million more shares of AMC within the next 2 years, but many by March of 2025. Please remember, none of this is financial advice and we are not financial advisors. This video is made for entertainment purposes only. Greg's birthday is coming up on the 13th. And I believe we're going to see some crazy candles really soon. GameStop is in an amazing place, and I really wanted to keep this short, so thank you guys so much if you made it this far. God bless you, and thank you.